As you work on projects, a lot of times you'll decide that there are certain things that you always want to change, or there's something you want to customize. But the problem with the AEC work structure is that the standards get updated occasionally, and when they do, everything inside of there gets wiped out. So we say never to change that folder. But if you want to make changes, how do you do it? Well, there is a folder called Extensions, and this folder has a location for you to put customization that you want to keep locally. One of the things that gets thought of a lot when customization comes around is the graphics standards, and if you look, there is a production data area, and this production data is pretty optional on what the data should be. Nothing describes what that information should be or has to be, but your organization might want to use that information to make lives easier. The other place is in the management block. There are two optional fields, and there is a way to use print time text substitution to change that information. So optional field 2 is typically the short file name. Option field 1 is maybe a file number. It used to be called file number. I'm not sure what they're calling it now. And in the production data area, this first line is usually the long path to the file, and there may be like a plot date or what plot driver you used or what design script was used to plot it, so that you could easily tell what to reproduce or how to reproduce that information. So if I wanted to manipulate that, I guess the easiest way to do it would be to go find the plot drivers and make copies of them. So I have the print style, or the plot configuration and the design scripts. And if I make copies of those, and if I go over to the extensions folder, there's a folder here called local extension. And to keep it simple, I'm going to use the similar names. So I'm going to create a new folder here called PLT-CFG, and I'm going to paste those files in there, and then I'm going to rename them so that I know there's something local. So if I call each of these mine or my screen descript, then whatever customization I know is mine and not something from somebody else. The next thing that I would need to do is come into the extension folder, and there's this file called local extension template config. It gives you some ideas on what you might do. What you want to do is make a copy of that file and then rename it so that it's called just local extension.cfg. Local extension CFG gets loaded right after the standards. So all of the standard configurations get loaded, and then the configuration is set to load the local extension config. So that's the last thing that loads before the user and the project configurations. So now I can edit this local extension config, and there are some examples in here. They're all commented, so if you know what you want to use, here's a good place to set it. There is one variable that's set in here, and that is the AECLEF. That's the local extension folder. And it basically sets a configuration variable to point to that local extension folder. So anything you put in there, you can use the AECLEF to point to it directly and have make your life a little easier. And if I want to redirect all my users now to use my plot configuration file, I can comment out this information, and I'll need to get the name. So I am going to copy that and paste it in here. And if I'm using a pen table or not, but I can point those things in here directly. And now I at least have all my plotting coming into the same location. If I hit File, Save, now I know whatever is set in these in that plot config is going to be run before the AEC standards do. Now the next thing I'd probably want to do is edit this design script. And if I look way at the bottom of this thing, there are some examples of what will be substituted by default. IP design is the full path to the design file. Long time, short time gives the date, what time, what date it is that it was plotted. The short plot file or plot config file gives the file name of the plot driver that was used, and the short design script name gives the design script name that was used. Another option that's in there is to take %option1, the default values for the option 1 field, and put in file number, or default option 2 and put in file name by just commenting out those lines. But you can customize that text substitution however you want it to. And basically you just edit this stuff and then you'll have it set. And that's basically what you would do to set up an extension to the work structure. And you can do anything in here to override settings. Basically all you'd have to do is copy in whatever local things you want to add, and then make sure the local extension CFG is pointing to it.